Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Boy Who Painted Before He Could Write. Welcome, little one. Tonight we travel to a warm Spanish city by the sea. The city is called Málaga. Long ago, in 1881, a baby was born in a tall blue house there. His parents named him Pablo. Pablo had bright dark eyes and very small hands. He liked to watch the lemon trees sway in the courtyard. He liked the salty smell of the harbor in the morning. His father, Don Jose, was a painter and an art teacher. The house always smelled of clean linseed oil and warm wood. Now, Pablo did something a little unusual. They say his very first word was piz. That was short for lápiz, the Spanish word for pencil. Even before he said mama or papa, he asked for something to draw with. By the time other children were learning their letters, Pablo was drawing little doves. He drew tiny donkeys too, and small ships with triangle sails. But here is the funny part. Pablo could draw beautifully, and he still could not always write his own name. "Don't worry, Pablito," his father said softly. "Letters can wait. The eye is a wonderful teacher." Pablo nodded, his pockets already full of stubby pencils. Don Jose had a workroom near the window. It had a long wooden table that creaked a little when you leaned on it. On the table sat little jars of paint. Each jar held a sleeping color. Sienna brown, sky blue, lemon yellow, soft pink. "May I try, Papa?" Pablo asked one bright morning. His father smiled. The window was open and the curtains breathed in the sea wind. "Today you may," he said. "Pick one brush. The smallest, please." Pablo chose a brush as thin as a feather. He dipped the tip into the yellow paint like dipping a finger into honey. Then he painted a tiny circle on a scrap of paper. It was the sun, round and warm. He smiled at it. "What do you see, Pablito?" his father asked. "I see the sun in our courtyard." "Then you have already painted it twice," his father whispered. "Twice, Papa, once with your eyes and once with your brush." Pablo did not forget that idea. Not ever. In Málaga, on warm spring afternoons, the people loved a parade. Trumpets blew bright and gold. Drums tapped quietly. Horses clopped along the cobblestones. The riders wore wide black hats. Their jackets shimmered yellow and red. Their saddles shone like polished apples. The bravest riders were called picadors. A picador sat tall on his horse, his back as straight as a tree. His hat was round as a moon. When Pablo was 8, his father took him to watch one of these parades. They sat together on a wooden bench. The sun was warm on Pablo's knees. "Look, Pablito," his father said. "Tell me the colors. I see yellow on the jacket. And the horse? I see white socks on the horse and a hat as black as midnight." His father smiled. "Then you must keep them." "Where, Papa?" "In the pocket inside your eyes." Pablo laughed and pressed his hands flat on the wooden bench. The trumpet rang out one more time, gold and bright. The picador raised his hat to the crowd. The horse shook its long, soft mane. People clapped like applause from the sea. Pablo did not look away once. When Pablo was 9, something special happened. He was taller now. He could reach the top shelf in his father's workroom. He could find a small canvas there. He could find the wooden pallet too. One quiet afternoon, the house was still. The cat slept by the door. The lemons hung heavy in the courtyard. Pablo carried a fresh canvas to the table. It was small, about the size of a book. He set out his colors in a careful row. Bright yellow, soft red, snow white, a little black. Then he closed his eyes. The horseman came back to him, the brave horse, the round black hat, the trumpet's gold note. Pablo opened his eyes and began to paint. He painted the horse first with its strong shoulders, then the rider in his bright clothes, then the soft pale ground beneath them, then the crowd only as little dots and dabs. He worked for a long time. The light moved slowly across the wooden floor. When he finished, he stepped back and held his breath. "There you are," he whispered. "I caught you." That painting was called El Picador. In English, that means the horseman. It was the very first painting Pablo ever finished. He was 9 years old. He still could not always spell his own long Spanish name, but he could paint. His father came in and set down his cup of coffee. He looked at the small canvas for a long, long time. "Pablito," Don Jose said, "this you must keep. Forever." "Why, Papa?" "Because one day you will be a grown man, and you will want to remember the boy who painted this." Pablo nodded slowly. He carried the little canvas to a safe shelf and tucked it gently against the wall. Years went by the way years do. Pablo grew taller. He learned all his letters at last. He filled notebooks with drawings of pigeons and fishermen and stars. When he was 13, his family moved north to a big city by another sea. That city was Barcelona. In Barcelona, Pablo walked along narrow stone streets. He smelled fresh bread coming from the bakeries. He heard church bells in the cool morning air. He listened to the breeze in the wide stone harbor. Pablo painted and painted and painted. He grew up. He became one of the most famous painters in the whole wide world, but he never threw away the little canvas from when he was 9. He carried El Picador with him through long train rides and new houses and many, many years. When he was an old man, that small painting came home. It came back to Barcelona. Today it hangs in a quiet hall called the Museu Picasso. If you ever visit Barcelona, you can stand right in front of it. The painting is not very large. It looks like the work of a small, careful boy, because that is exactly what it is. The horseman is still bright. The horse still steps proudly. The little dots of the crowd still cheer in the soft, painted air. A boy of 9 made it. A boy who could not yet write his own long name. Tonight, far away in Málaga, the harbor boats rock gently to sleep. The night air carries the soft sound of waves. In Barcelona, the museum lights are low. A guard walks slowly past the small canvas. He smiles at it the way grown-ups smile at a sleeping child. The painted picador rests inside his glass frame. The painted horse rests too. The painted crowd is very quiet. A boy started all of this. A boy who looked and never forgot what he saw. May you keep what you see today, little one. The color of the sky, the smell of dinner, the sound of a friend laughing. You can paint with crayons. You can paint with words. You can paint with your good and gentle thoughts. Just like Pablo, who could not yet write but could already see. And so, Barcelona also slowly, slowly fell asleep. Good night.